Sleek, suave and sophisticated is perhaps the best way to describe Loresho Estate, for it is a neighborhood where palatial homes are the norm rather than the exception.
It's quiet, which we love, away from traffic noise, so that we like very much. It's also very secure. We have had very few incidents of insecurity, and obviously I think everyone, each one of us, each of the citizens in Nairobi, in fact in the whole country, loves security. So it's quite secure.
And this is the E type. The other, type E. There was type B, which were also 4-bedroom, but bigger rooms, with a servant quarter for 2 people.
Be it a type A or type B house, land value and houses in Loresho don't come cheap.
Right now, I think if you are like to get a plot in the area, is a half an acre, will be in the tune of about 40-50 million. Rents range from about 250 to 350, thereabouts, even per month.
But for an area that was previously vast acres of land of coffee plantation, Loresho Estate struggles to hide a checkered past riddled with poverty and underdevelopment.
Wale watu walikuwa nafanya kazi kwa wazungu, walikuwa wachache, lakini wameendelea kusaana. Na mpaka wakati wa leo, kuna idadi ya kitu kama 30,000 people wale wanaishi mahala hapa.
Juu nimeolewa hapa sasa, tuseme firstborn wangu ako na 40. Na nimemsalia wapi? Hapa. Wasasi wangu wote wamekufia wapi? Hapa. Sasa siwezi nikasema mimi ni mkai wa nje. Ninakaa hapa, nilikuwa nakaa hapa hivi. Tukachomokewa, tukarudisha nyumba, tukabomolewa. Sasa tukapelekwa huko mbele. Sasa tunakaa hivi na msukasuko tu. Huwezi ukafanya kitu ya maana juu hujui kesho itakuwa namna gani. Tunakaa tu hivi.
It's all about prestige and prominence in an area of sharp contrast where squatters and foreigners are neighbors in this week's episode of Area Code. Loresho is the kind of place where you find the rich and affluent in society tucked behind their designer gates and high walls. It's an area loaded with clamorous money and quiet streets where neighbors know each other and outsiders need permission to get in. But Loresho wasn't always like this. This is exactly how Loresho looked like in the past. Acres upon acres of coffee plantation covering nearly 7 hectares of land. A majority of the coffee had been planted by the colonial settlers as a form of subsistence. That was until 1963, after Kenya attained her independence and most of the land was sold off to private owners.
Loresho North Estate here, Loresho South Estate, Kangemi is down this way.
Paul Sayer's family was among the first buyers of land in this area. He moved into this area in 1973 and hasn't left since.
Which was largely coffee, and it had coffee all around here, and it extended down across a dam towards the Lower Kabeti Road. When we came, it was all dirt roads. As we went along this Loresho Ridge Road, which, by the way, I don't know whether you know, runs all the way from Kikuyu to Lower Kabeti Road. If you look at the map, it's designated all the way there through the university property. My house was on the University of Agriculture estate.
The coffee estate had 3 coffee factories, operating in the area where the plant was harvested and dried for packaging, work that was done mostly by the native Kenyan population. In the pre-independence era, this area was loved by the British settlers who admired its high altitude and cool climate, which served well to enhance coffee production. Since then, Loresho has changed quite a lot.
It's been a continuous period of development, but it's the most attractive area. Most attractive. When we first came, we could see Mount Kenya and we could see the Aberdares almost weekly. You could see them.
But post-independence saw a radical change within the area. Private landowners got rid of the coffee plantation to pave way for modern housing structures in an area that remains exclusive to this day. That radical change began in 1967 when the Loresho Housing Limited began construction of state-of-the-art housing on half-acre plots. Loresho Residency is subdivided into three main areas: Loresho North, Loresho South, and Loresho Central, better known as Loresho Kaumoni. James Masharia is the current chairman of the Loresho Kaumoni Residents Association. He moved into the neighborhood about 12 years ago, following months of construction of this house, where he now resides with his grandchildren.
Loresho, I chose Loresho because I knew Loresho very well. I had friends who moved in here in the 70s, visiting, and I love the area. In fact, I found the nearness, proximity to town, and the infrastructure is good. So we are near hospitals, we are near other amenities like schools, it's close to shopping centers. I mean, we have all in all, because you take about, without traffic, about 10 minutes or 15 to town. So that attracted me to live or to choose Loresho as my choice place of residence.
No regrets?
No regrets so far. No regrets at all. Yes.
Loresho North was constructed between 1968 and 1972 and comprises of about 200 housing units which were sold off to individuals through mortgages from Loans and Savings Corporation. Loresho South was built from 1972 to 1975 by the Loresho Housing Limited and comprised of about 260 housing units. Stephen Nganga was among the first occupants of the area.
This is the sale of agreement of this house, which is Nairobi Block 1967. The cost was 456,000 to buy. That was the costs, and the deposit was 125,000, and we were to apply for a mortgage of 335,000.
Which year was this?
This was the sales agreement is here. This was this is dated the 24th August 1979.
This is the house Stephen bought 40 years ago, a 4-bedroom bungalow which could now cost an upward of 50 million shillings.
And this is the E-type. The other, type E. There was type B, which were also 4-bedroom, but bigger rooms with a servant quarter for 2 people. This is, the kitchen is still as it was. It was small kitchen. It's exactly, we have not changed anything. The only change we did is this is the dry, the Dobby, laundry room, and machine for washing.
Loresho North and Loresho South consisted of already built housing structures where owners bought fully serviced plots.
But then in between Loresho North and South, there is an area, buffer zone, which could be called Loresho Central. Okay, with the Kamon Road estates at the western side. That area was subdivided to mainly about 1.5 acres. And the plots were serviced and allocated to those who managed to win the favors, of course, of the Commission of Lands. Then they were publicized. Okay, they went on paper, people applied, and those who qualified were allocated the plots.
That is how James Mutero acquired this property, where he has now since built his 4-bedroom family home. He was able to move into the neighborhood more than 20 years ago and has no plans of ever moving out.
I think the only difference between then and now is that, of course, it's now more mature. There were a number of vacant plots when we moved in. Some of those have been built up. The shrubbery, etc., the trees are more mature now. So the place looks very well consolidated at the moment.
And that consolidation has come with a costly price tag for this area. According to the first quarter of 2019, the Haas Consult Index estimates that it could cost you about 90 million shillings to purchase an acre parcel of land in Loresho. The sale of a 4-bedroom house sitting on about a half-an acre parcel of land should not be anything less than 48.5 million shillings, and rent rates aren't any cheaper. You may have to part with close to 250,000 shillings as rent per month for a 4-bedroom house in this estate. But despite the high land value and property prices in Loresho, the residents refuse to admit that the estate is exclusive.
Do you feel like you are special?
No, not really. We are very close to our neighbors, Kagemi, Kibagaren, and I thought high ends are the Rundas and the rest. We are among the commons, really. Oh, yeah. I don't think ours is that high, and I believe we are comfortable, but not in that area you're putting us. Yeah, but we have no regrets.
No regrets.
After the break,
Nairobi is such a livable city as far as I'm concerned. And most people ask me what keeps bringing me back to Kenya, and this brings me back to Kenya. How many cities of 6 million people have this? I mean, it's where it's very unique.
Hiyo gate ambao kawaida unatumianga ni gate gani?
Si mimi sana natumia hii. Alafu na ile ingine iko huko juu. Juu sana huko siendi.
Na wanafunga saa ngapi gate?
Wanafunga loud saa 3:30
usiku. Ukikuja baada ya hiyo inabidi ujipange.
Maisha ya Kibagari ni maisha ngumu. Tunapitia maisha ngumu. Sio maisha rahisi vile. Kwa sababu ya kwanza tunapata viongozi ambaye tunachagua. Wanapoingia mahali hapa wanatuambia vijana mtapata kazi. Kazi zenyewe wakati wanaingia hatuoni mtu.
Mpaka wakati wa leo kuna idadi ya kitu kama 30,000 people wale wanaishi mahali hapa, na vile wanakaa hapa bado hawajakuwa na hati miliki ya mahali hapa. Imekuwa ni squatter, kwa ufupi wanaitwa squatters, kwa sababu hawajapewa hati miliki ya kuishi mahali hapa.